Hello everyone! Today we're going to practice using algebra tiles to model and solve our two-step equations. So first of all, remember that an equation is a mathematical statement that says that two different things are equal. We also know that an equation only has one solution, so like x equals 5, x equals -2, and that a solution is what we're going to plug in to make the two statements true. So for example, if I have x plus 2 equals 5, I want to figure out what I can plug in for x that would make those two sides equal to each other. Alright, so we're going to look at an example and how we can use these tiles to solve this equation. So let's start off with looking at this key down here. Let me get my face out of the way. So our big green boxes are going to be our x, our big red box will be -x, our little squares are 1 and -1. So starting off with this, I've got this 2x minus 3 equals 5. That would be the equation we're starting with, and we want to solve for x. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start on the side with the x's, right? Because I want to get that x equals something. I have all these little extra ones over here that I don't want anymore because I want to get, again, just one little x by itself. So I've got to get rid of these ones first, and how I do that is using something called a zero pair. So remember from previous videos, a zero pair is anything plus something else that's going to make 0. So if I have a -1, I want to add a +1, and together, -1 and +1 will make 0, so a zero pair. So if I have 3 -1s, I want to add 3 +1s to get rid of them, and they'll make 0. So remember, the big important thing though is whatever I do to one side of an equation, I have to do the other, because we have to keep those two sides equal, right? So if I add 3 1s over here, I also need to add 3 1s over to that side with the 5. All right, let's go on to step 2 then. So now that I have those, these zero pairs over here are going to make 0, so we'll get rid of them. So now I have just my 2x, so I'm getting closer to that x by itself. And over here, I don't have any zero pairs that I can cross out, so these all get combined together. So I had those 5 plus those 3, so now I have 8 1s that are all positive over here. Now is the fun part. I have 2 x's, right? This is an x, and this is an x, and I have 8 little ones over here. So what I want to know is if I split these evenly, right, how many x's are going to go with each one? So I can see that these 4 could all get put with that one, and these 4 could all get put with that one, which means that each x is going to be equal to 4 1s, and they're all green, so they're all positive. So my solution to this original equation is x equals 4. Let's practice doing that a couple more times. All right, let's look at this first example together. So again, I'm always going to be looking at my side with the x's to start, and I always want to get rid of those extra 1s before I can do anything else. So this time I'm getting rid of 4 -1s, so I'm going to add 4 +1s to make those zero pairs. All right, remember that whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side as well. So if I added those 4 positives to this side, I also need to add 4 positives to my other side. Then I'm going to draw a big line underneath of it just to show that that is my first step. Okay, now I'm going to look for those zero pairs. So again, these 4 and these 4 are going to make 0 overall, right? +4, -4 makes our 0. Now, this time I do have some zero pairs on the left-hand side I can cross out. So again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of zero pairs that I can get rid of, and I'm left with these 2 -1s. So I'm going to bring these 2 -1s and these 2 x's down to my next step. All right, and then for my last step, again, I don't want to know what 2 x's are equal to. I want to know each x is equal to how many of those 1s. So I know in this case I can put 1 here and 1 here, which means that each x will be equal to a -1. And that is how we solve our equation using those algebra tiles. Let's look at one last one together. So again, I'm always starting on the side with my x, so I'm going to start over here. I want to get rid of any extra ones I have, so the opposite of those 2 positive ones are going to be to add 2 -1s. And again, whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other to keep everything balanced, so I'm going to also add 2 -1s on my right-hand side. I'm going to draw that big line across so I can show that that was my first step that's over. Now I want to get rid of any zero pairs, so I know that these 2 are going to go away over here. And on this right-hand side, I don't have any zero pairs. They're all negative, so they'll all just be added together and brought down to the next step. All right, this time I have 3 x's that are equal to 6 negative 1s. So again, I'm going to try to break those up evenly so I can see how many go with each one. So I can see this group of 2 could go with that one, this group of 2 here, and this group of 2 here, which means that each x is going to be equal to negative 2. All right, so that is how we use our algebra tiles to solve 2-step equations. I'll see you next time.